Shalom, shalom. Let me make sure the sound is can y'all hear? Is the sound good? Is this taking too long to load on my side? Maybe that was it. Shalom, shalom. Oh yeah. I just wanted to make sure I can, that it was actually clear on my side too. Now it is a little windy outside, so I'm gonna be trying my best to hold the mic. To hold the phone. Salaki, I said mic. Okay. So, we the Hebrew Israelites are speaking, on behalf of the brothers I labor with and on behalf of the men of the Lord that be teaching the word four corners of the earth. We come out here to wake up, the Hebrew Israelites, the hopeful elect of that nation, the black, Latino, Hispanic, and Native Americans scattered four corners of the earth. Lord willing, this camp, this live is edifying. And for those walking past, those that are standing outside, regardless of whether if you hear or whether you forbear, we just come out here to edify, get a message of Yahweh Shema Shai in a warning, speak a prophecy, right? And even go into history, right? So we already facing the east. So we want to give our praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well through the Spirit. A mighty shalom to the hopeful elect in the same spirit, teaching this word and believing in this word, but willing as a whole. Y'all continue in sound doctrine and in the same spirit. Shalom to the Akwath, right? The sisters that are believers in his faith and his truth. Lord willing that you continue to pursue your lot, which is being a loving and silent and virtuous wife. And Lord willing, the Most High have mercy on the other brothers and sisters that is not in the faith, right? Now, I want to go and speak about Ezekiel chapter 2, and I believe a little bit of chapter 3. We already did a live on the road yesterday and kind of expounded on certain points. But since I'm going through the breakdown of each chapter in Ezekiel, I still felt like it's some things that I need to talk about, which we already bring out all the time, right? So I want to go to this first, which is Hebrews, the 3rd chapter. And go into verse, I believe, 12 and 13, right? So this is Hebrews chapter 3, verse 12 and 13. This is what it reads. It says, be careful then, dear brothers and sisters. Make sure that your own hearts, your own mind, are not evil and unbelieving, turning you away from the living power, right? Every day you want to make sure that you're believing in this thing, right? That don't just only just sit there, oh, I'm an Israelite, and that's all you got, right? Every day you should be growing. Some of y'all might have an easier task where you just sit there and watching the lessons. You might not know how to go to precept to precept. You might not know the history and breakdown, but you listening, receiving what's actually being said, maybe you might not get it that video, maybe rewatch it and be like, man, dang, maybe you might have to follow along and you're like, oh man, this is really hitting. Dang, man, all that happened, right? And you're start to really understand. You might not, just because you understand, you might not be able to teach it, okay? the water, right? It says, verse 13, you must warn each other every day while it is still today, right? While this wisdom and knowledge and understanding is still out, right? Four corners of the earth, right? The men of the Lord, right? We have to warn you, right? In the Hebrew, that word warn goes into teach, right? So the men, you got to get your ass up and go teach, man. Edify the sheep, right? Of course, be circumspect, be cautious, because now we're being watched, you know, on another level, right? So you must warn each other every day while it is still today, so that none of you will be deceived by sin and hardened against the Most High. Just like Pharaoh and the 2/3. They're hardened where they don't even care about this word. Now, when we go into Ezekiel, right, the Ezekiel, the 2nd chapter, the 3rd chapter, the Israelites were hardened, right? And this is through all ages, because they're stiff-necked, they're rebellious, right? All Israel, but the elect is actually going to receive it. And right, when you're teaching this word now, when all hell break loose, a lot of the Israelites that now they're scared. When all terror come, they be like, oh wait, oh brother, that's why Amos 8, right? This is why Amos, the 8th chapter, verse 11 and 12, where it's going to be a famine of the word, people are going to go to and fro looking for the word. Guess what? You had the warning, motherfucker. Excuse my language. Excuse my language, man. Just for the same example, right? When you driving, because I know sometimes I go over the speed limit, you know, when I'm cruising, you going over the speed limit, a cop going behind you, and they pull you over. What you gonna say? You were already warned, because while you was driving fast, the sign said 40 miles per hour. You know, you drove past the stop sign or the red light. Then, hey, yo, man, I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I was distracted. I was in my zone. The law not gonna care about that, right? Them cops is going to give you that ticket, right? Depending on who he is, right? But at the end of the day, when these warnings is coming out, these scriptures, the men of the Lord is warning you, and you ain't taking heed, when that time comes, the spirit might hit you to be looking for us. Guess what? If you wasn't taking heed now, you're shit out of luck. All right? So let's go to that. We might go to that verse again later on, right? So this is Ezekiel, the 2nd chapter. Right? A lot of y'all might not know this is the time of when Israel was eventually about to get besieged by Babylon. Ezekiel, Jehoiakim, right, and some of, you know, his servants or princes were actually captured by Nebuchadnezzar, and they were dwelling in Babylon, right? So Ezekiel was the first, or part of that first exile, you know, he was the first of those that were captive in the hand of Nebuchadnezzar. And he was in the land of Babylon before the full siege happened in Jerusalem. So when you go into certain chapters in Ezekiel, he's actually doing certain things on the siege, right? But let's deal with it. This is I said Romans, I'm excited. This is Ezekiel chapter 2, verse 1. Now we most likely gonna be reading this whole chapter and getting precepts, Lord willing. And he said unto me, son of man, stand upon thy feet, and I will speak unto thee. Because the Lord is speaking to him in the spirit, right? All this has happened spiritually for Ezekiel. The Lord is really dealing with him. And the spirit entered unto me when he spake unto me, and set me upon my feet, and I heard him that spake unto me. And he said unto me, son of man, I send thee to the children of Israel, to a rebellious nation that have rebelled against me. They and their fathers have transgressed against me, even unto this day. Right? Let's get a precept just to show, because this is speaking about Ezekiel. We're in 2025. Right? So this is Ecclesiastes. You can read in the KJV. I'm just going to read it in the NLT because of the wordplay. It says, history merely repeats itself. It has all been done before. Nothing under the sun is truly new. Right? So if Ezekiel is a prophet, right? And today, the prophets is here today, which me and other men, we call ourselves prophets. Right? You even got false prophets. Right? But the Lord set the true men of the Lord, right, to go warn the rebellious nation. We're teaching the whole 12 tribes. But who's going to receive it is those that believe. Those that don't believe, you already marked. This don't pertain to you. Because I can't help, what up? Hey, Israelite. The Spirit is going to have to draw them, right? Because when you even look at Philip, right? Acts the 26th chapter, right? When Philip was, doing his own thing, right? The Heavenly Father said, Philip, go this way towards Gaza. And then the Spirit moved Philip in the direction of the eunuch to edify him, right? So the Spirit is upon the men of the Lord to do these lessons, right? It could be a sit down, right? It could be a camp, right? It could be like a 5-minute, 15-minute lesson, exhortation, right? It could be any lesson about Yahushua. It could be the law. It could be a parable. It could be dark saying. It could be prophecy. Shoot, it can even go into history, right? We're supposed to do what? He said, I send thee to the children of Israel, right? First and foremost, the prophets is out here for the Israelites. But when we're teaching this good news, this gospel, all nations can hear it, because the nations get a chance to hear their role in the kingdom to come, right? Under Yahushua and the elect Israelites on that side, right? So again, the nation of Israel is a rebellious nation, right? Let me get another one if I can, right? This is Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 3, right? This is the classic. It says, I'm going to start at verse 2. It says, hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth. For Yahweh have spoken, I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me. Who are the children? The Israelites, man. Those are the children of the Lord, man. And they're not hearing this word. The fastest dog in the world. I see you. The fastest dog in the world, right? Verse 3, it says, the ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib, but Israel doeth not know, my people doeth not consider, right? These dumb animals, they know they master better than the children of Israel, man. But on this side, if all Israel is rebellious, on this side where we at right now, the 12th period, right? The 12th time frame that the Lord has in his world, or the 12 parts that he has the earth, or the time divided, right? The 2/3, the non-elect, they don't consider this truth. From Genesis to 2nd Maccabees, Genesis to Revelation, some of them know a little bit. They know some things, but they're not really hearkening to it because it's supposed to make them change. So they don't consider. Now back to Ezekiel chapter 2 and verse 4, right? For they are imputed children and stiff-hearted, right? Stiff in the mind, right? You know, when you dancing and somebody just so stiff, but this is speaking about the mind. They're stiff in the mind, because when you go to Romans, actually, let's get it. Now, it's fire in the KJV, but watch, it's going to hit different in the NLT. Like, it's going to make you reevaluate yourself if you say you are the faith or you believe, right? Because your actions, right, how you move in this thing shows your faith, right? Because real faith is hearing the word, right? So let's get this. This is Romans chapter 10, and some things I brought out yesterday is coming back out. Romans chapter 10, verse 14, the NLT, it says, but how can they call on him to save them unless they believe in him, right? You don't truly believe in him, let alone if somebody tell you that's the wrong name. Yahweh and Yahushai is the real name. Like, nah, if you don't believe in the name, how you think the Lord really answering your prayers? It says, and how can they believe in him if they have never heard about him, right? Somebody has to be giving you the lessons about him, right? The people saying the color don't matter, but you got to hear somebody break it down that his color actually matter because it was in the scriptures, right? It says, and how can they hear about him unless someone teach them? I mean, unless someone tell them. Who's going to tell them? A teacher, right? A prophet, a man of the Lord, right? Shoot, a mother, because she's going to teach her children, right? It says, and how will anyone go and tell them without being sent? That is why the scriptures say, how beautiful are the feet of the messengers who bring good news. It's good news, man, right? Stop being stiff-necked. right? Stop being stiff-hearted, right? Come and hear the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. It says, but not everyone welcomes the good news. But Isaiah the prophet said, Yahweh, who has believed our report? Isaiah 53:1, when he was really speaking about Yahushai. But really, if we talk about the whole volume of the book, who's going to believe the report of the prophecies, the dark sayings, the parables, right? Dealing with the MOTB, the Charagma, which going into the RFID chip, right? Who's going to believe that report, right? Who has believed our message? So faith comes from hearing. That is hearing the good news about Hamashiach, right? When you go in the KJV, it says, in hearing by the word of God. Who's the word of God? Yahushai. So by hearing the good news about Hamashiach, right? To understand the role of Yahushai, that he was created before the heavens and the earth. And after Yahushai was created, he created the other powers, right? The other powers, right? Which is really the elect men and the other angels. Help Yahushai make everything that you don't see and everything that you do see, right? So verse 18, it says, but I ask, have the people of Israel actually heard the message? Yes, they have. The message has gone throughout the earth in the words to all the world, right? So in the same, if we speaking about Ezekiel in his time, you have to understand this is speaking about every time. Because now Paul's words is all the way in the ends of the earth, right? Ezra's word is in the end of the earth. We're speaking and teaching about the prophecies. All the nations is all over the earth. The Israelites are scattered 4 corners of the earth. So this message, this song, this chord, Psalms 19:4, what we brought out yesterday, that music chord is going throughout all the earth, right? Even if you don't want to listen to it, the brother just stopped smoking this black, he listened. As soon as I said Israel up, he kept it moving, right? But everybody that hearing this thing, regardless if you don't believe or if you do, you are marked. You're marked. The deal is already sealed, right? Those that hear this message are intrigued. Like, wait, hold on. Yo, man, brother, I got a question. Wait, hold on. So I don't mean to interrupt you. I got a question. I heard you said this and said that. You are intrigued. If the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai is in you, you're going to be intrigued. But if you don't have the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai, you're not going to be intrigued, right? Because those that want to learn, those that don't know, are going to want to learn, be fast to listen, slow to speak, right? So back to Ezekiel chapter 2, in verse 4 again. For they are imputed children and stiff-hearted. I do send unto them. I do send thee unto them, and thou shalt say unto them, thus saith Yahweh Shem Shai power. Right? So the Lord sent Ezekiel to the Israelites, right? To those really of the southern kingdom, to prophesy unto them what the Lord had told them. Right? When we telling you the Lord said that you rebellious, you're supposed to take heed and be like, dang, that was us. And then you looking at the signs of us right now in this world, how Jake is stubborn, how women, where Yahweh said he's going to do a new thing in the earth, women is becoming to usurp authority over men, right? And you can have some women that's usurping authority over men in the smallest example and don't know, where a man has to like a woman want a man to be honest, but if he too honest about, hey, yo, look, I ain't gonna lie, I prefer, hey, yo, I love you and I love her. Oh, no. Guess what? That's another form of usurping authority over a man, because now a man has to dictate what the heck he doing. He can't really be a man, right? Or if a man say he's the prize and you're not. No, I'm the prize. I bring forth the child. The Lord created a new thing in the earth. Women are usurping authority. This whole world on this side is all about women. We supposed to teach against that, because you women are really supposed to be taking the bench. Like how this gate is behind me, that's how the women's supposed to be. Just the same when the men of the Lord is teaching, the women and the children shouldn't even be outside, because this is a spiritual war battle. So if we're supposed to correct Jake when they were being rebellious, back in the ancient world, unless you didn't have this truth and you were just walking outside, you hearing this word. But if your wife is already following you, you courting a sister, guess what? You're not bringing her out to the streets of concourse, right? Or to the highways and byways, and you teaching her there. Man, you're going to teach her at home, because this is a spiritual war, right? This is a spiritual battle we're going through, right? So the Lord sent us to teach this word, let alone He sent us to be an example of this ministry, right? So now when you go to verse 5, it says, and they, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, that's why I said whether you will hear or whether you forbear, for they are a rebellious house, yet shall they know that there have been a prophet among them, right? And of course, you're going to be, a lot of y'all, even if you hear, you still part of the rebellious nation because you in this flesh, right? Nobody on this earth can say that they're perfect and they have no sin, right? Because then Yahweh Shem Shai is not within you, right? We're all filthy rags. But why you have the chance to come back to Yahweh Shem Shai, you want to mortify the things of the flesh because you believe, right? Let's look up that word that I just said, right? So this is Romans chapter 8, verse 13. For if we live after the flesh, ye shall die. But if ye through the Spirit do mortify the deeds of the body, ye shall live. Let's look up that Greek word for mortify, right? It kind of already said in the NLT, but let's just look it up since we here. Mortify, G2289, thought, let me make sure. Tahataho, right? And it means to put to death, a metaphor to make to die, to destroy, render existence or extinction, right? So you're supposed to put to death or make to die or render the extinction of the flesh, right? In the NLT it says, for if you live by its dictates, you will die. Wait, for if you live by its dictates, you will die. But if through the power of the Spirit you put to death the deeds of your sinful nature, you will live, right? And this is not something you just did one day. You're doing it every day, right? As long as you living on this earth, and it's all you always come past a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're trying to mortify the things of that flesh, right? Women, you trying to do it the best because you're the weakest link, right? You know how many women is bumping up against a man that's not in the faith or a man that's in the faith? And it could be the littlest thing to the medium thing. When you go in the kingdom, you're going to be 100% in order. So that means even under the sun, you're not fully in order, right? And for us men, we got to constantly, that's why if a man of the Lord is constantly in this word, right? Let me just get a verse on it, because this goes back to, teaching men how to be a man, especially if you're a man of the Lord, right? If you become a prophet, right? How you move, right? How I'm ordering my household, right? Being attentive. This is Sirach, Ecclesiasticus chapter 27, verse 3. Unless a man hold himself diligently in the fear of Yahweh Shem Shai, his house shall soon be overthrown. So, especially the men of the Lord, your fear should always be rising, like an elevator. It never stops. It always keep going up. It's moments where you do have, when you cool off, hey, you might be taking a break, but you're gonna have a fire in you to keep going, like an Energizer bunny, right? You have to mortify the flesh. It's first you men, and then you women, because you want to be a shadow example or a shadow representation of your man, a reflection. Paul said, he said, if imitate me like I imitate Yahweh Shai. So you women out here, you should be imitating the men of the Lord like the men of the Lord is imitating the other men of the Lord, starting with the elder apostles on down, right? The brothers, shalom, Yahweh Shai Brakatah, man. Shalom to all the other brothers and sisters that's getting into the live. This is not a costume. This is actually a garment, A costume is for Halloween. This is not for Halloween. Sorry, G Fisher. You're not even a Fisher. Right. No, it's okay. No, he gotta be like that. That brother on the screen he a lesson. He's a lesson. He's a lesson. That's all he is. He a lesson. And this how you know he ain't learning. How you worried about the whole garment and you ain't even hearing the word. That's how I know most likely you got a nuke on your name, right? G Fishing for a nuke. That's your middle name. G Fisher for a nuke. You know, you nuke food, right? Lord willing, you repent, right? Back to Ezekiel, the 2nd chapter, right? Let's get this again, verse 5. And they, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are a rebellious house, yet shall they know that there have been a prophet among them, right? Even when you go to Ezekiel 33, let's go to Ezekiel 33. Now, Ezekiel 33, verse 30 to 33 is going to hit, but for time's sake, let's just start at verse 32, right? It says, and lo, thou art unto them as a very lovely song of one that have a pleasant voice, right? That voice is you speaking, St. John chapter 10, that voice is the doctrine. That voice is the prophet, right? It says, and can play well on an instrument, for they hear thy words, but they do them not. And when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come, then shall they know that a prophet have been among them, right? Let me just go to something just to show you that while we even tell you're rebellious, just like that dude that just said, we say, if you don't repent to the Lord, you're going to be nuke food. If you live in America, you live in Israel, wherever you at, right? If the Lord unalive you, that's your judgment, man, right? And if the Lord want to get crafty, you put you in the spirit world now and then bring you back right when the nukes hit, right? Because Yahweh Shema Shai brings justice. And Lord willing, I could do a lesson on this chapter. You know, the elder apostles, they've been getting in there. So I guess I got to get my fingers wet in this chapter, right? This is Isaiah chapter 34, verse 4. It says, all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, right? Salaki, all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, right? And that's those hosts of heaven is going into like the mighty men, the rulers, right? And even course you 2/3, because this is going into Babylon, aka America. It says, in the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll. What is that? That's going into nuclear destruction and the mushroom cloud, right? Because when a nuke drop, everything push out and then it sucks it back in like a vacuum. But we're talking about, what is it, Revelations 9? It's going to be over 200,000, which is 200 million missiles or warheads, right? It's going to be missiles, but it's going to be multiple warheads within that missile that touch in America, regardless if you believe it or not. But you can go on YouTube and look up ICBM missiles. Look up Russia. Look at the missiles that NATO and the EU got. Look at the missiles that America got, right? It says, and all their hosts shall fall down, as the leaf falleth off the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. And my sword shall be bathed in heaven. What is the sword? Right? That sword is going into the war, right? That Armageddon, World War III, right? What it's saying in Revelations, is it Revelations 11? The first and the second woe has passed. The third is on his way, right? And right, that sword is going into the nuclear fire, which is the ICBM missiles, right? It says, behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment, right? The Lord's curse, right? The people of his curse is the Edomites, who he has indignation, right? He has a perfect hatred against them, right? Idumea is the people, right? But you have to know he's destroying the place of where Idumea, right? Their capital, right? When you look at Basra, what is Esau's capital, right? The capital would be America, because that's the face of their enterprise. Let's go to Revelations, the 17th chapter, and then we're going to get back to the point, because we would be in Isaiah 34 for a minute, right? So I want to just get a quick warning, right? Revelations, the 17th chapter, in verse 1, it says, and there came one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither. I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Now, before we talk about the many waters, what do a whore do? A whore, a real whore, I ain't gonna lie, through the spirit, if a woman got more than one body, technically through the spirit, she's a whore. She's an adulteress. She's a whore. If she lay with 5, she lay with 10. It's a girl, I seen a video on IG. She wrote down 49 people she lay with, which she remembered. That's a total whore, right? So America is a whore. It got all these nations on the earth, right? It allows you, they say Donald Duck and Charlie Sheen, I'm calling him Charlie Sheen, so the page don't get flagged, but you know who I'm talking about. He said America is a Christian country. No, the hell it's not, right? They show the reflection that it is, but if you know the elites are real Satanists. So that's just an image they put in the forefront. America is not a Christian country, right? Because if it was an original real Christian, it would go back to the laws of the Lord, right? It wouldn't be death, right? They wouldn't be making money off drugs, right? If we was to really get technical, we would debunk that America is a Christian country, but this is what they say. This is a Christian country, right? And they allow Buddhism, Hinduism, all these other beliefs. If it was a Christian country, everybody would have to come here and be one belief, one religion. Because in China, you can't even go out to the highways and byways and teach, right? They got an order, I think, how men and women walk on the street, right? If they do parades for the ICBM missiles or a parade for the general, you all got to come, or I think you do jail time. Every country is different from America. So if this is a Christian state, we're a Christian country, everybody can do what they want. A real Christian is not just letting anybody just believe in what they want, right? But this is that whore, right? You could be whatever you want to be, right? The sky is the limit. You can have any job you want to be, right? A woman can overpower a man. Guess what? If you have a child, the man don't want to be with you, you can put him right in child support, right? This is a whore. It lets you do anything to it, right? You can do whatever you want. You can be freely. That's what a whore does. A whore allow you to do anything to her, right? The same as a so-called prostitute or a woman, an entertainer on porn. She allow you to do whatever you want to her, right? She's a toilet seat, right? That's what America is, right? It says the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. What is the many waters? So let's drop down to the 15th verse. It says, he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. So this is the head of the earth, man, right? Let me get one more. Salaki, I'm getting excited. I got to get one more. What the brothers say, if I may bring this out, right? This is Isaiah, the 13th chapter, in verse 2. It says, lift up a banner, which is a sign, the Bible, the truth. Lift up a banner upon the high mountain. Mountain represents government or kingdom, right? It says, and exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand, which we're doing right now. You shaking the hand, right? You prophesying, rebuking it, correcting your people on this place and the other nations, starting with Esau, that they may go unto the gates of the nobles. I got to get one more because it said high mountain. So let me just show you a mountain is a power or a government or a kingdom, right? So back to Revelations, the 18th chapter, and I believe verse... Oh, Salaki, same chapter. Revelations, the 17th chapter, verse 9. And here is the mind which have wisdom. The 7 heads are the 7 mountains, which when we went to verse 1 just a minute ago, where it said that, wait, where was it? No, Salaki, it wasn't verse 1. Okay, when you go to verse 3, it speaks about that so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast. The whore is America, right? the scarlet color beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. So when you go to the 9th verse, it's giving you the understanding of the 7 heads. It says, here is the mind which have wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. And what is mountains? Mountains is a government, a power. What is the 7 heads? Rome, the British, the Spanish, the French, Germany Major, Germany Minor, and Rome. Let me say that again. Rome, Britain, France, the Spanish, Germany Major, Germany Minor. Did I get it mixed up? Oh yeah, I think I forgot Rome. Wait, Rome? Somebody, because in my mind is everywhere. Rome, the British, the French, the Spanish, the Greeks, Germany Major, and Germany Minor. There we go. There we go. Those are the 7 heads. Okay? The brother said, fulfilling these prophecies. Khan. It's a fact. So this part of the warning that the men of the Lord is doing, outside of telling you, hey, to repent, turn back to Yahweh Shem Shai, or you're going to be a part of that sacrifice. Because when you even go more into Isaiah 34, the day of the Lord is going to be a sacrifice. Even lining up with Zephaniah, the 1st chapter, verse 6 to 9. So back to Ezekiel chapter 2, and now we have verse 6. It says, and thou, son of man, be not afraid of them, neither be afraid of their words, though bears and thorns be with thee, and thou doest dwell among scorpions. This is how the Lord is describing y'all that's either going to say something against us teaching, right? He's telling us, and this is in Ezekiel time, and he's speaking about even the prophets, because history merely repeats itself, the prophets of this time. So brothers, when you go out, this is why a lot of times when I do go out by myself, it's really a confidence thing, right? Because sometimes some brothers would be a little afraid. Like I know a brother that was with Sakari, you know, I don't know if he watching, but he always either wanted somebody to be with him, right? Maybe because he wanted somebody to read the scriptures for him. But if you got a fire or a delight for this, it don't matter if it's 2 brothers, 3 brothers, 4 brothers, 5 brothers, you're going to go out and teach. The Lord is speaking to one man right now. He's speaking to Ezekiel. Ezekiel by himself had to go teach. So any brother that's afraid to go out, and because of your brother is working, maybe he's sleeping, like, man, dang, I wanted to go to camp, but I can't, I'm too afraid to go by myself. You got to have the confidence to go out, right? That builds your experience, let alone it strengthens you. Because the Lord can bring somebody to come up and test the doctrine. And if you're not studied enough, you might be, that brother might put you in the hole, and somebody that's following you, that's probably in the same understanding, gonna be like, nah, bro, nah, you gotta sharpen yourself up. Maybe you shouldn't be out there, or maybe like, bro, you should be studying more, right? So that you want to be prepared to give a man an answer. That's why the scriptures say, be ready to give a man an answer. Sometimes when brothers is writing a question in the comment section, I got to be ready to give that answer, right? Depending on if I see it, I might not see it. Or say if I see it and I'll be like, look, I'm going to do a video on it later because I don't want to take away from the lesson. So then that person is watching might be watching my channel, and they might get on the comment section, hey, yo, look, I've been waiting a week. You said you was going to do a lesson on it. And you said you're going to do a lesson on such and such and such. You never did it. So that teacher might sit back and be like, dang, I didn't do a lesson on it. So it's either, hey, is he a teacher or not? Is he studying to give an answer? Us over here, you know, starting with the elder apostles and how we're taught, right? We supposed to be studying to give an answer, right? So I have to be ready for this. And I'm talking about myself and the brothers I labor with, which I know they're always sharpening themselves up, you know, to give somebody an answer on their videos or on lives, right? So these Israelites, these children are scorpions. Be not afraid of their words, nor be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house, right? Some Jake might look at you like, man, this bug out. Like I just, the one girl that was just in the car, she was looking at me and laughing. Man, I could care less. Anybody making a remark in their head or speaking out loud, you're marked through the spirit. And guess what? The Lord might give you a beautiful flashback of you making fun of the prophets. Like when those 42 children was trying to mock and make fun of Elisha, yo, spirit hit him and he started throwing curses at them children, and the Lord sent 2 she-bears and tore all 42 children. Yes, the Lord don't play about his children. What David do? When that dude came up and was confident saying that, you know, Saul told me to take his life and I came to bring the crown to you, he said, man, you confident in that you touched the anointed? David had one of his servants, man, basically unalive him, man. Right? The real anointed don't play about the anointed, but you that's probably not anointed to come in his faith, you really don't know that the men of the Lord in the spirit was ordained to teach this word. So if you mock him, making fun of him, oh, let's get this one. Right? Precept came to mind. I think a brother was probably saying it in his head, and now it just came to mind. This is Second Chronicles in the history. Second Chronicles chapter 36. Salaki. Second Chronicles chapter 36 verse 16. It says, but they mock the messengers of the Most High, which some people might laugh at you. They might say little whispers. Look, he was mocking when he said, these costumes are just ridiculous, right? Mocking mocking the men of the Lord, right? If that man Kevin Morals, right, said I like the outfit, and the other person M said I like the drip, if they being funny, they're mocking the prophets, right? When you go to Sirach, the 42nd chapter, go read it. Sirach, Ecclesiasticus chapter 42, verse 18 to 21. The Lord knows all the hidden things, secret thoughts. So if you're mocking the prophets in your head, under your tongue, whispering, guess what? The Lord gonna deal with you. How much more you, like, and I'm speaking to women that are probably wise, right? Or courting the men of the Lord. Oh, I'm not about to deal with him anymore. I'm about to give me another dude. The Lord know your whole conversation. A sister on TikTok, because she was saying, she was asking about the truth, and asking about certain things on TikTok. She inboxed me. She said, look, man, my father came out of nowhere and started telling all me and my 3 brothers that we Israelites. I'm not going to say the sister's name, but she said, my father told all of us that we were Israelites. And I think she said her younger brother said, man, I ain't no damn Israelite. And she said ever since that, everything in his life went downhill. The Lord not playing, man. The Lord, especially, even if you're not a prophet, if the Lord is giving you that open door to hear this word and you reject it, right? You getting prideful, you pumping up, right? The Lord gonna deal with you in the right way. Not that, he could do it in the worst way, right? But he's gonna do it in the best way. How much more those that was in this thing and they walk away? Come on, man. So again, 2 Chronicles 36 and 16, but they mocked the messengers of the Most High and despised his words and misused his prophets until the wrath of Yahweh rose against his people till there was no remedy, right? When the wrath of the Lord come, what do people do? They start looking for protection. They start looking for words of affirmation, wisdom, truth. That's what they do. When you look at the movie I Am Legend, look at it in the spiritual aspect, right? Will Smith is giving out a call. That woman came across him when he was, when I guess he was, dangling, hit his head. He got wounded, and she carried him to the house. She thought she's looking for a whole nother place where it's refuge, where it's peace, where it's safety, right? When all hell break loose, it's gonna be people looking for safety, right? I think we gotta get it. Points is coming out. This is Isaiah 32 in verse 2. It says, a man shall be as a hiding place from the wind, right? That wind is going into like the time of Jacob trouble, the terror, right? The martial law, right? There's gonna be curfews where you're gonna have to be in the house, let alone a safety from the nukes, right? Because if you with a man of the Lord, Most cases, that sister getting beamed up. I don't care if it's 7, 6, 10, 13. A lot of those women, some of the women are going to be humble, and they going to ask that man, yo, give me your name. When you go to Isaiah 4:1, you read it in the MSP, they going to say, get me pregnant. Right? Yeah, I'm going to hide you from the channel. You just got out. You just went in time out. This is Isaiah 32, verse 2. And a man shall be as a hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. Right? So the men of the Lord is going to be a hiding place from the wind. Right? I'm telling you, if you're coming in this faith, you're going to be looking for the men of the Lord. And I'm first speaking about the women, right? Because when all terror happens and all time of history, women were always trying to be under a man. Go watch the TV show Spartacus. When them slaves, right? When them people got from under wherever they was at, and you know, Spartacus and the men that was gathering the people, when they got them, what happened? A lot of these women was trying to be under a man of stature, a man of a name, right? So that's the same way that was going to take place when all hell breaks loose, right? But you know, how about Shem Yahushai is going to set the men of the Lord up in a certain way, right? That's why what the men of the Lord is doing now through the Spirit, they're already covered, right? To the man that did make the comment, right? When you really are on private property is where you're really in front of the building, right? Where the gates is not at, or you on the other side of this gate, which a lot of the homeless go here, I guess, for shelter. I've seen some people I know that go there for shelter. But wherever the gate is at, right, I think, yeah, it's a bus stop right in front of the joint. So I'm not on their property. See how you really don't know nothing, right? So now, let's go back to Ezekiel, Shalom, our reasonable service 777, which that is a great YouTube channel. That is a great YouTube title for a channel and a movie. I mean, I said a movie. It is a movie for a video, a lesson. But Shalom, Yahweh Shemashai Brakatah. Right? This is Ezekiel chapter 2 in verse 7. It says, and thou shalt speak my words unto them, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are most rebellious. Right? What is the words of the Lord? Right? We know Yahushua is the word, but you understand, I think, what is it? Hebrews 10. What is the word of the Lord? Right? Because we dealing with Yahushua. What did Yahushua say? Is it Hebrews 10? I think it's Hebrews 10. Hebrews 10 and 7. Then said I, lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me to do thy will, O power. Right? So we come in the volume of the book. Right? The word that we have to bring out is the volume of the book. From Genesis to Maccabees, Genesis to Revelation. However the Spirit is moving you, you're going to do a lesson. Right? I just did a lesson yesterday on Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 1 to 3. And I think another verse, I think in the second chapter, verse 7, all the way to 10. And the Spirit made me go back to it because I'm making sure I'm sharpening up on the Ezekiel breakdown or the whole book. From Ezekiel to the first chapter to the last chapter, watching all the breakdowns and going throughout all the prophets. And you want to do the best, you want to do the most that you can, if you do have time. Especially I'm talking to you men that are teachers, right? If somebody that you know, especially Great Millstone, that's doing chapter lessons, the book lesson, right? You want to make time within your day or your week to watch those breakdowns. Don't, I'm about to watch all 20 of them. Pace yourself and then meditate on them, right? Go mark up your Bible, mark up some points, think about them, speak on them. Right? Because you want to give a diligence. It is not only to give somebody an answer, but so you don't make the excuse, I don't know what lesson to bring out. Right? Because I got other thoughts I want to bring out. I got other videos I want to do. But this might be my first time today not doing side videos. Outside of the video I did on TikTok, I'm going to only do a live today. And I'm going to probably just shut it down when I go home because I got one more night of work. And Lord willing, for the sheep that watch. Lord willing, I will be going live again. Yahweh Ratazal go live again tomorrow after work again. You know, you want to press for the mark. You want to feed the sheep, because in a minute, that's the message. It's a message right there, right? Yup, come on, man. Oh, snap. So again, we should speak the word of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Let's go to Jeremiah 1:7. Right? This is Jeremiah chapter 1 and verse 7. I'll start at verse 6. This is what Jeremiah said when Yahweh, was setting Jeremiah to teach the word. He said, then said I, Yahweh power, behold, I cannot speak, for I am a child. But Yahweh said unto me, say not, I am a child, for thou shalt go to all that I shall send thee, whatsoever I command thee, thou shalt speak. Be not afraid of their faces, for I am with thee to deliver thee, saith Yahweh. Right? Same thing that the Lord said to Ezekiel, he said to Jeremiah. Right? Don't be afraid. And he's telling them don't, because look, the Lord know that they're rebellious. They're going to talk their stuff. We in America, where some people, man, they'll say shut up. Maybe some people might not even say it humbly, but I'll read body language. I've seen multiple Jake, they come up, you give them a verse and you keep going. Like I see brothers just keep going in. You like this, then they looking in their phone. You be like, yo, did you hear? Yeah, and they can't even recite what you said. Yeah, they don't, man, they in their mind, man, dude, when is he gonna stop? Soon as you say, you know what, brother, Lord willing you receive, hey, yo, subscribe to the channel, okay, I am, and they walk away, you don't see them taking out their phone. When somebody giving you information, you try to take out your phone. When you trying to bag a girl number, you're not gonna sit there and say, hey, what's your number? Okay, I'm gonna remember it in my head. And then you about to do other things out your day. You're gonna forget that damn number. You're gonna take your phone out or a pen and write it down. So it's the same with this truth, man. You gotta read body language. Everybody don't wanna hear this word because they might not be of the elect. They need fear. They need fear in order, they need to be drawn by fear to come hear the word of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Right? Now, when I first started, you had to say something ignorant to get somebody to hear the word of the Lord. And even though you said something ignorant, that don't mean that they're going to stay and endure to the end. Right? You got to feed them. You got to feed them the hard things, the simple things. Right? One of the hard things, which is really simple, is the name of the Heavenly Father and the Son, which we was ignorantly given. Like when you say the Most High or God or Jesus' real name back then was Yahweh Shai. You know, some people bump up against that. The name don't matter. Then what's your name? Kevin. Your name don't matter. What's up, Maurice? Don't get mad because I use your tactic on you. Your name Maurice. You said his name don't matter, so that means your name don't matter. Right? The brother said, write it down, keep the crown. That's a fact. Wait, hold on. Come on, bro. You can't be saying that and don't think a precept about to be drawn. Let's get Revelations, the 3rd chapter. In verse 11, it said, behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Right? What is you holding fast to? The word. Right? Because you ain't gonna have no crown if you ain't believing in this word. If you ain't believing in this truth, you ain't gonna have no damn crown. So you gotta hold what you got. What do you got? That goes with 1 Thessalonians 5:21. Prove all things and hold fast to which is good. So what is you holding? Right? Right? Well, Yahweh Shai, when the dude said, oh, you're good, he said, man, there's only one that's good, and that's the Heavenly Father, Yahweh. Because Yahweh Shai in his past life, he commits sin. Right? And how is the Heavenly Father good? Because this word is of Yahweh. Yahweh created Yahweh Shai, and Yahweh Shai is the word of the Most High. Right? Let's get something else. Right? Let's get 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 24. Right? 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 24. It says, but unto them which are called both Jews and Greeks, Hamashiach, the power of the Most High and the wisdom of the Most High. Right? Yahweh Shai plays the top role. He's the power and he's the wisdom. Everything revolves around Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Right? You can't have one without the other. Right? You can't be all praise to the Most High and forget Yahweh Shai. I'm getting sick and tired of hearing Jake say that. Y'all really taking away from Yahweh Shai, right? That's why Job said, and I just said this in this video, Job said, if only I had a mediator between me and the Most High. We got that now. So what Job was praying for, asking for, that came to pass, man. We got a mediator now. So when you're saying all praises, you're saying all praises to the Most High Yahweh in the name of his son Yahweh Shai. Because in order to get to the Father, you got to go through the Son, right? You see how celebrities, they had a security guard. In order for you to get to them, get to that celebrity, you got to go through the security guard. Have any one of y'all seen the Spy Kids? I think it's the first one or the second one when that little girl had all the security guards. All the security guards. She was the daughter of the president, and the little boy was trying to talk to her, and the guards would move over. Unless she say, let him through, then he can come through, right? The mediator is the representative, or the messenger, that angel in Exodus, the 23rd chapter, verse 20 and 21, which is Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai is the stepping stone to Yahweh. Ooh, that's fire, bro. Hold on, man. Dang, bro. Oh man, you just, man. Dang, that's another lesson. Right, this is Psalms 118, verse 22. It says, the stone which the builders refuse is become the headstone of the corner. Right? They refuse what? The stepping stone, man, to get to the Father, to get back in the mercy or the grace, the favor of Yahweh. How can we get back in the favor? How can we get back in the mercy of Yahweh? Through the Son. Through the Son, man. Yo, and look, this is another indicator, right? When we go back to the law, I'm gonna ask a question and see if somebody in the comment section can answer it. In the old covenant, in order to sprinkle bread and for the atonement and for the sacrifice, who went to the most holiest spot in the temple? Who went into the most holiest spot in the temple for your atonement, for your sacrifice, for your offering? Who did it in the old covenant? And we ain't speaking about the whole law. We speaking about the services of the Most High in Romans, the 9th chapter. Who was doing the services? Come on, somebody get it. Somebody get it. Somebody get it. Who was doing the services of the Most High? Yeah, Khan. The water love. The water my love. Right? The priest. So now, yup. The water, my other love. The water. Appreciate both of you ladies. Thank you. Right? So, who is the representation of that now? That is Yahweh Shai. What I want to get? What do I want to get? We want to back that up real quick. Who is that? Yep, they was walking this way. And they turned right around and went across the street, as you should. Right? Let me see if this is the one. Is this the one we want? Yep, they went across the street. I am so happy. Right? I think this is it. I think this is the one we want. I think that's the one we want. This is Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 24. It says, for Hamashiach is not entered into the holy places made with hands. He didn't go into the physical temple, right? It says, which are the figures of the true, but into the heaven itself, now to appear in the presence of the Most High for us. Because Yahweh Shai is Melchizedek, right? And now we're in the order of Melchizedek. And Yahweh Shai, through Yahweh Shai, we'll be able to leave this firmament, right? To go past that veil. But Yahweh Shai he's the high priest to go through that, right? He's that high priest. He's that perfect sacrifice, an example for us, right? It says, nor yet that he shall offer himself often, as the high priest entereth into the holy place every year with blood of others, right? Yahushua ain't got to frequently do that. He had to do it one time, right? So this is why we trying to give you this word to let you know what Yahushua did. Don't take the shit lightly. You should be able to have common sense to look at yourself. Oh, it's so many people I see on Pop the Balloon, YouTube, people out in these streets. Oh, I'm trying to get closer to the Lord. How do you get closer? You know, praying, thinking about him. What is you thinking about? And then you ask them a question in the scriptures. Oh, I don't think you got to go that deep. I just think you got to believe in Yahushua. I think you got to believe in Jesus. But do his name matter? No, the name don't matter. You just believe in Jesus. But when you start eloquently through the wisdom show that the name got changed, yeah, but I don't think that matter. Guess what? You're not getting closer to Yahushua. Come on, man. That's why when you had problems, you went to the priest or you went to the prophets. But most of the time, like when you had leprosy in Leviticus, the 13th chapter, you would go to the priest and he would know what to do, right? The brother put Levites equal helpers and keepers of the sanctuary. Priests, Aaron's line equals sacrifices and offering. High priest is direct access into the most holy place. Yes. And what's the most holy place now? That was synonymous with the heavens, right? Let's just get it in Hebrews, the 10th chapter, verse 1. For the law, having a shadow of good things to come, and not the very image of things, can never with those sacrifices which they offer year by year continually make the comer thereunto perfect, right? So with the high priest, with the temple, that was all a foreshadow of Yahushua. Hold on, what's that prayer? Heavenly Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Everything synonymous to the temple, to the sanctuary, is synonymous with the orders in the heavens, right? When we teaching, what is the prophets doing? They're ministering. So what is the angels doing? They're ministering. When you get a lesson, the angels are ministering unto you. This is why everything is predestined. You can't get a lesson on your own. The Lord, the angels through the Spirit is bringing forth that lesson, right, in the heavens, right? Making sure that you teach the word, right? Because it can't be no lie of the truth, right? You're being watched, right? The eyes of the Lord is 10,000 times brighter than the sun, right? Because the Lord's eyes beholding everything, right? Let's go to 1 John just so we can back this up. This is 1 John. This is 1 John, chapter 2, verse 21. Just seen a brother watching. He started doing a rosary thing. This is 1 John, chapter 2, verse 21. Let me start at verse 20. It says, but ye have an unction from the Holy One, and ye know all things, right? That Holy One, Yahushua, through the Rakak Wadash. Yahushua is with the Heavenly Father. Through the Rakak Wadash, what do it say? What did it say? It says, ye know all things. St. John 14:26. The Heavenly Father is going to send a comforter in Yahushua's name, and he's going to bring all things into remembrance. Right now, you're remembering that Ezekiel was speaking to the rebellious nation. Now you understand we in 2025, 2,000 years ago from Yahushua. Guess what? The prophets are back on the earth, and they're speaking unto you again. And right now, the Spirit is giving y'all remembrance. You are that nation, right? Yes, we wasn't called Black, Latino, Hispanic, or Native, but those are the people, right? Those are faith are going to understand, especially when we look at the bulk in America. Because elsewhere, the 12 tribes is probably, they're called something else, right? When you look about the North Country, where he talks about the deliverance in the North Country, I'm going to save the Southern Northern Kingdom are in captivity together in the North Country. That's the main deliverance. And of course, Matthew 24, the elect are going to be saved 4 corners of the earth. But the main deliverance is America, which goes back into Daniel, the 7th chapter, verse 8, the little horn, right? So verse 21, it says, I have not written unto you because ye know not the truth, but because ye know it, and that no lie is of the truth. All spirits heard this truth, right? It's either you walked past it, you scrolled past it, in this time, the time before, and when you went up to the Father. right? Even these other nations that go up to the Father, they start noticing, dang, those is the Israelites. And they come back down, Ecclesiastes 1, and all remembrance of things is taken away from you. You don't remember nothing when you come down. You knew. You got to learn it and come back in whatever lot it is that you was. So if you was a 2/3 on the earth, you can go to the Father and come back down as a damn 2/3, right? The elect can never be a 2/3. But the elect did get cut off too. If they didn't, why do the elect got to come back and learn all over again? Don't even know who they is again. Why they got to deal with the same punishment of to not knowing who you is, not remembering the ministry or the breakdown from old to now? Guess what? That's part of the curses, man. That's part of your damn judgment, right? Not knowing what the hell happened, right? You got to be taught over again. Now I got to get to this point because I just said that. Go to Ezekiel chapter 21 and verse 4, right? Even the righteous got cut off. Wasn't Ezekiel in captivity? When you read from the beginning, Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 1 to 3, it tells you he was in the land of the Chaldeans in Chabar. It's probably pronounced different in the Hebrew. So he was in captive too, right? With Jehoiakim or Jehoiachin, right? This is Ezekiel chapter 21, verse 4. Seeing then that I will cut off from thee the righteous and the wicked, therefore shall my sword go forth out of his sheath against all flesh from the south and to the north, right? And I'm just speaking just in a literal sense. Throughout the ages, the righteous got cut off. Did not John the Revelator die of old age? He got removed. Guess what? If he back on earth, he got to learn this again, right? Elijah, he got beamed up, went up to the Father, and he came back in his lot as John the Baptist, right? And guess what? When he came back, guess what? He got beheaded on this side. He didn't have, oh, I'm rich. This man was out in the wilderness eating honey and locusts, delicious. It didn't get beheaded for rebuking Herod about, man, you laying with your brother's wife. Man, you can't do that. That's unrighteous, man. That's abomination. And guess what? Herod's wife, daughter, requested that his head be on a platter. He got murdered, man. So even the righteous, they come back in their fulfillment, man. Right? They come back and they're judged. Coming back in the flesh, you're judged. Because even if I'm calling myself a prophet, I'm in the flesh just like you. I still got battles too. Just because of firing me, I was tired at work. Now that I'm teaching, I don't feel tired. As soon as I wind down, the tiredness is going to come back. It's the fire in you. Right? Let me get this first. Can somebody write Jeremiah 20 and 9, talking to the men. Write Jeremiah 20 and 9. Wait, hold on. Yeah, Jeremiah 20 and 9, so I don't forget it. Right, I got to go to this just to show you. Coming back down to the earth is a judgment. This is 2 Ezra, the 14th chapter, verse 35. It says, for after death shall the judgment come. Right, death is when your spirit leaves your body and you go unto the Father. Right? It says, when we shall live again. That's the judgment. When you live again and you're in this flesh, learning all the doctrine over again. Guess what? You in poverty. Or you in poverty over again. Right? You might have one of your wives in your past life, or your wife in this time, and she might be loudmouthing, talking against you. Right? Hey, she might be out of order. Hey, your wife she might not even be healthy. She might not even be one of them dying. Guess what? The men of the Lord is still suffering in all angles. That's a judgment, man. Your wife not healthy, right? She might be sick, right? She might be smoking weed. She might be smoking cigarettes, right? She probably was a woman that was twerking, right? Her body defiled. She probably laid with one man before you. She probably laid with 2 men. Maybe 3 men, maybe 4 men. She probably got a whole roster, maybe 15, because a lot of men was just getting in there, like filling her up with what she wanted here, bagging her and doing all that extra stuff. And then after they got what they wanted, just put her to the side. The Lord allowed our women to become defiled. Guess what? That's another judgment, right, for the righteous, right? And it says, and then shall the names of the righteous be manifest. That's going to especially happen in Jacob's trouble, where the chosen is going to be known. And then when they get beamed up, oh snap, that's that Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter, verse 1 and 2. Because right now they standing up boldly. And those that come to faith, they're going to know who the men of the Lord is. Now it's going to be hard to know who the daughters of Zion. You just going to know by their what is it called? Modest behavior, right? You're going to see their modest behavior, but truly you could tell if she could be of the elect, if she, especially if her shadow is a reflecting of the men of the Lord, how they teaching. She might be shamefaced. She not in every man's face, right? She got a little order to her. She always in the house, right? But not all of us is clocking all the women. The number one people that are a spectacle is the men of the Lord, right? Now you got the wicked, they're a public show, but they're doing it for vainglory. But the men of the Lord is a public show. They're a spectacle. 1 Corinthians 4:9, right? So they're being seen. And then it says, and the works of the ungodly shall be declared, right? The works of the 2/3, the wicked. And then, of course, what Esau is going to do in these nations when they push forth this charagma. Their work is going to be declared in the earth. Oh, that is the wicked. Oh, that is the wicked. Right? It's judgment all around. Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter, where it says, under the sun is the place of judgment. Right? Righteousness and wickedness was there. Come on, man. Globally, I got that. So now, back to Ezekiel 2, verse 8. Oh, nobody wrote it down. I still remembered it. Just going back to showing that that fire is in the men of the Lord to be continuous in this thing. This is Jeremiah chapter 20 and verse 9. And there's multiple precepts that go with this one verse. It says, then I said, I will not make mention of him. Right? Jeremiah said he wouldn't make mention of the name of Yahweh, nor speak any more in his name. But his word was in my heart as a burning fire, shut up in my bones, and I was weary with forbearing and could not stay. Right? He couldn't hold still. Right? That's like, you know, like when you coughing, sometimes you coughing so hard and spit come out. So it's the same. He couldn't hold in that fire or that burp or that hiccup. He couldn't hold it in. It had to come out. Like what I call it a spiritual fire. Right? Where you gotta do a lesson, you gotta do it live. You're antsy. Ants in your pants. Can't sit still. And that's what the men of the Lord is doing. Right? In the spirit, they can't sit still. They gotta feed the sheep. They was told to do that. Right? And guess what? Y'all don't choose to be a prophet. Right? The Lord chose us. Just like he did Judas Iscariot, he chose him to betray Yahushua. If you are a wicked off teacher, you got some things that got flavor and the rest is just off, the Lord set you up. You didn't set you up. The Lord set you up because he knew your heart. When you go to Jeremiah 1 and 5, he said, I knew you before the womb. Right? The Lord know what you going to be in the later reign. Nah, you know what? This man bump against the truth. That's your lot. Oh, this man going to praise this truth. He going to praise me. You know what? He going to be in the truth. You know what? This going to be a believer, but this person not going to be a teacher because he already know you. Come on, man. It's like when the potter is molding the clay, he like, you know what? I want to make a plate. And guess what? He molds it and he's making that plate. You know what? I want to make a cup. He might start off wrong, but in the end, he want to make a cup. He's going to make that cup, right? And it's going to work for the purpose that it was made for. So, Ezekiel chapter 2, verse 8, but thou, son of man, hear what I say unto thee. Be not thou rebellious like that rebellious house. Open thy mouth and eat that I give thee. Right? So if you are a brother that have the ability of teaching, don't be rebellious from the Lord. He already calls you to be a teacher. If you have that, where you trying to correct people, like this is an example. If you get, especially I keep seeing this brother keep doing it, where brother said, if you're not teaching, stop trying to get on the stage and trying to bring out verse. Oh, I'm not a teacher. If you're trying to correct people, You trying to bring out precepts, you're showing forms of being a teacher. So now sharpen up, get the breakdown, try to master how to deliver the word. A real person that's not a teacher, they just shut up. They're really, yeah, yep, that's right. You know, they're not dropping precepts on the YouTube channel. They're more quiet, right? They're more quiet. Or, you know, some brothers would just stay in their lane and just teach the things that they know. Guess what? You're still a teacher. If a man is a husband and he got a wife and children and he teaching his wife how to do this and do that, things in the scriptures, guess what? You are a teacher at home, right? Somebody said, don't be blamed in the spirit, for the flavor of word is plentiful, right? It's fruitful, right? Don't you know when you teaching, you be going into this, like you have open forum, or it's just various topics, or you dealing with a chapter like we is, and certain things come out, and you like, you know what, I can't pass that by. Let me get these few precepts just to back that claim up. It's plentiful, right? And this whole thing is just about planting seeds. You know what? Somebody right now could be dealing with reincarnation. This lesson not about reincarnation, but we just brought up reincarnation about the prophets, right? With the second Esdras, the 14th chapter, verse 35, right? Somebody might be dealing with judgment. We just brought that out. And this lesson is about really judgment, shaking the hand to the whole nation of Israel, right? From the elect to the wicked, right? So don't be rebellious, brothers. If you had the talent, don't neglect that gift. Hold on. Let's go to Timothy. Timothy chapter 4 and verse 13. It says, till I come, give attendance to reading, to exhortation, encouragement, to doctrine. Neglect not the gift that is in thee, which was given thee by prophecy, with the laying on the hand of the presbytery. Right? Meditate upon these things, give thyself wholly to them, that thy profiting may appear to all. Take heed unto thyself and unto the doctrine, continue in them, for in doing this thou shalt both save thyself and them that hear thee. Right? So if somebody hearing you, that means you teaching. So don't neglect the gift that's within you. Everybody trying to look for their purpose, for my talent. The Lord already gave you a talent, right? You might see it, but you might not be productive in it, you know? And that's why a lot of us become rusty. Like metal, we become rusty because we ain't using it a lot, right? I love dancing. I don't really be dancing as much now, right? I might be rusty, but get me amped up. Oh, it's over. Oh, I got it. You know what I'm saying? But you still want to feed that, because when you feed it, you start getting better. You start growing new moves, new talents, right? Because what did the Lord do in the 10 talents and the 10 pounds? When the one dude didn't double, he took that one and gave it to him that got 10. Come on. And he had 5, and he doubled up and gave him 10, right? This is like a business. They're selling all this merchandise. They get money from it. Now they about to go get more. But then they put other stuff in the store. Then that's selling out. Then they getting more money. Now they putting this in there, this in there. Now they got varieties of things that you can get. They're bringing back double, right? So now back to Ezekiel chapter 2, verse 8. But thou, son of man, hear what I say unto thee. Be not thou rebellious like that rebellious house. Open thy mouth and eat that I give thee. What is he eating? Second Esdras chapter 8, verse 4. Right? Swallow down my soul, understanding, and devour wisdom. Right? You're eating the scriptures. You're eating this word. Now, you could be listening to a breakdown and you're eating it. Yeah, you're eating it because you're listening to it. But to truly eat it is what you do like the people of Berea. You're having a readiness mind to hear it, but you're searching the scriptures daily to see if it's so. And when you like, oh, that's actually true. What he was saying was correct. That shows that you're eating it. When you take the time to go over the verses that came out. That's how you eat, right? Now you can believe when somebody's teaching. Oh man, oh that's true. You can believe, but it might be another itch on you when you're going over what came out, even for yourself. And while you reading yourself, you're like, oh man, he said this, da da da. Your spirit is gonna have you remember what was said unto you, right? In verse 9, it says, and when I looked, behold, a hand was sent unto me, and lo, a roll of a book was therein. That roll is a scroll. That roll is this. That book is his word, right? It says, and he spread it before me, and it was written within and without, and there was written therein lamentation, mourning, and woes, right? Judgment, destruction, punishment, consequences, right? And that's throughout all the Bible. From you see so many experience, because when you go into the law, the Lord is always repeating. So when we look at the cycle, the Assyrian captivity, the Babylonian captivity, the Persian, the Medo-Persian Medese captivity, the Romans captivity, then you were oppressed by Ishmael, the Arabs, and then the Africans, the Hamites, the African booty scratchers, the true ones, and then these Europeans came, and it's just over and over. So you're getting reputation, you're getting a repeat, right? A repeat three. It's just happening over and over again. Some of them is getting worse and worse, right? Where the tension is not loosening, right? So the brother put, double down into your salvation, for only you can save your soul through Yahweh Shai. So he said double down. Let's get this, because the brother said that. This is 1 Peter. Maybe I think it's 2 Peter. No, this is 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 10 in the NLT. This salvation was something even the prophets wanted to know. Wait, hold on. No, 2 Peter. Salaki family. 2 Peter chapter 1 and verse 10 in the NLT. It says, so dear brothers and sisters, work hard to prove that you are really, that you really are among those the Most High has called and chosen. Do these things and you would never fall away, right? So you have to work hard. You have to work hard to get salvation. You have to work hard. That's why, of course, it say KJV, right? Make your call and election sure. How do you do that? By working hard, right? Being determined, right? Being determined, being continuous, right? Doing it with passion, doing it with faith, right? Doing it with confidence, being sure, right? Like the brother said, double down into your salvation, for only you can save your soul through Yahweh Shai, through that light, right? You want to be, what is it? Overtime, right? Don't do the minimum, try to do the most. Like, I don't know if y'all, but those that's truly in this thing, those that are truly believers or in this thing, they always say, I need to do more. It's not good enough. I need to do better, right? I'm still growing, right? Those that are comfortable where they at, they do the minimum. That's why Apostle Tahar, the minimum is doing 3 videos on YouTube. If I got 7 days out the week and I'm doing this and this and that, sometimes I'm able to do 15. Sometimes I might go to 12. Sometimes I might do 7, but I'm going over 3. That's me. You might have a different push, but you want to always find yourself doing the most for your salvation. Do you have it? No, you don't. Do the most for it, right? And what we read in Timothy, you doing it for those to save you, for you to get salvation, and for those that hear you. Do the most, right? So I want to drop down so we can close out. This is Ezekiel chapter 3 and verse 6. We're going to read to 11. It says, not too many people of a strange speech and of an hard language, whose words thou canst not understand. The Lord is telling Ezekiel, I'm not sending you to people with a hard speech, which is the other nations, the real physical other nations, right? Whose word thou canst not understand. Surely, had I sent thee to them, they would have hearkened unto thee, right? When we look at the woman at the well, which is not an Israelite, because if you understand the history of the Samaritans, right, the northern kingdom was removed from the land. Now, some of the northern kingdom cleaved to the southern kingdom, But the majority of all, the whole northern kingdom got removed out of Samaria. They all got removed. And Samaria was Ephraim land. They all got removed and got captured by the Assyrians. So the Samaritans, who went eventually over there. When you go to 2 Kings, the 17th chapter, you see the Assyrians, that king was bringing other people that they had, you know, of course, in their possessions, or people that was their subject, to live in those lands, right? But you see the Canaanite woman, he said that she had faith. He never said to the woman at the well, she had faith. But if he was really for them, if he was really for her, guess what? She would have received this truth. But let's read the next verse. It says, but the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee, for they will not hearken unto me, for all the house of Israel are imprudent and hard-hearted. They hard-headed. They're hard-hearted, hard-minded, right? They can't receive it. It's like you using your hand and punching a wall. You ain't making not one puncture, but you fucking up your hands, right? That is the 2/3. This is why if you teaching the 2/3, they're not going to get it. This is why the elders was like, if they don't get it, move on. We're only here for the elect. All the Jake, the sister and the child, Jake that just walked past, Jake that's over there, Jake that just walked past with the jersey, they not receiving this. So I'm not like, hey, how you doing? The one Jake that stopped, I was still teaching until he said he had a question. He could have said, excuse me, or he could have waited for me to get done with the verse, and I would have said, yo, brother, you got something you want to ask? But he didn't have the patience. He don't want to hear it. The sheep know the voice. They going to hear it and be intrigued. He can't hear Yahweh's voice because the Lord not dealing with him on this side right now. Right? We're here for the elect. It could be more of the elect on here right now than it was in person. Right? That's why the Lord made this ministry so easy, because the heavy lifting is the unicorn. Right? It's the satellites that really allow these phones to function, and it's those cords that's like under the water, the electric cords that hold your Wi-Fi and your signal, that it goes to where it's going. Look how fast it's working. That fast. You know, you in different countries, different cities, and you able to hear this word, man. Come on, man. Verse 8, behold, I have made thy face strong against their faces, and thy forehead strong against thy foreheads. That's why the Lord said nobody can gainsay you. Right? When this word come out, the wisdom that you using and how you standing, how you delivering it, some people ain't gonna be able to bump against you. You know, they might just have to, you know what, you got that. I'm sorry for interrupting you. They can't gainsay this. Somebody trying to debate you like, no, we don't do debates. Just ask your question and I'll give you the understanding. If you can't receive it, then hey, you're gonna have to ask the Lord. But what's your understanding? As soon as you hear them bring shabba dabba ding dong, nope, that's not it. Keep it moving. Amos 3:3. We don't agree together. That's not accurate. Oh no, brother, that's not right. Okay, let me. What is that word in the Greek? Oh, the Greek don't matter. Then that's how you know what you said is wrong. You know, take them to prophecy. Oh no, I don't know what that is. Now, how are you gonna know what this is? Because this is going into that, and this is speaking about Israel. How are you bringing in the nation in that? You are wrong. And if they can't receive the correction, guess what? They might not be of the elect. Right? So our heads is stronger. And I know I got a pistachio, peanut, and an almond type head. You ain't bumping up against this. You're going to have a bloody nose. And I'm not saying I'm the best. I'm not saying I'm not God. But I'm confident in my faith. And I'm confident in the men of the Lord. The Lord allowed me to learn at the feet of, where I'm able to stand up and be my own man in this thing. Be a man of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. That don't mean I'm my own man and I don't got to watch videos no more. I'm still a student. And I'm still in the flesh, where my memory, I lose certain things and I got to go get that thing back. I'm trying to sharpen up every day till Yahweh Shai come. Right? So if my head is hard, that mean the understanding, that doctrine, they ain't gonna be able to penetrate it. Right? As an adamant harder than flint have I made thy forehead. Fear them not, neither be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious nation. Right? You like the brother Samuel Wallace said, you don't want to labor with somebody in fear. I'm not about to come up in here in fear just because people looking at me or how they might act. You got to stand bold in your faith in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. You got to be sure on it. Who's going to take you serious? And guess what? If they don't take you serious, guess what? What did he tell the apostles? Right? The disciples. Kick the dust off your feet and leave them to their fate. If they don't receive you, move on. They not of the number. Everybody's not, you can't have the mindset everybody's going to get it. It says, moreover, he said unto me, son of man, all my words that I shall speak unto thee, receive in thy heart, receive in your mind, and hear with thy ears. And go, get thee to them of the captivity, the Israelites. So when he was doing that back then, we're doing it in ancient Babylon, and we're in modern day Great Babylon, right? So we're going to the people that are in captivity. I'm in the hood. I'm actually really downtown. If they can't receive it, they can't. Guess what? As soon as I finish this live, it's posted. No excuses. And I got it. And I'm on TikTok. No excuses, right? It says, unto the children of thy people, and speak unto them and tell them, thus saith Yahweh Shema Shai power, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, right? So the minute of the Lord is going to their people, right? And if they're not receiving, guess what? I'm about to end this live, and we're going to move on, do another lesson. They get it, they get it. Whenever time the Lord allow, right? What did he tell Ezekiel in Ezekiel 37? Speak to the wind, right? Because the Lord is going to move it to the direction he wants it to go. And those that are truly of the faith or growing in the faith is going to receive it, right? By the power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. The brother said, always refreshing so the mind doesn't go stagnant. That's a fact, right? What do you do when you're you on TikTok, you on YouTube? You watch the videos you watch and you go back up to the top and you pull it down so it can refresh, right? Or what do you do when a new update comes? You refresh it with an update, right? You want to refresh yourself daily. That's why no man can say you're a man of the Lord and you do a video every 3 days. Your excuse is like, oh, I didn't have a video. Okay, you have a video. Did you read though? No, I didn't read. The last time I read was last week, and we all the way in Thursday. Oh, you can't be saying that. It's a lot of men saying they a man of the Lord. Then, oh, I used to do videos, but I stopped. You ain't a man of the Lord no more. You was like, you a birthday candle. You don't do birthdays, but you a damn birthday candle. Oh, I haven't did a video in 6 months. You're not a man of the Lord. Right? They're daily. Daily. Right? He told Peter, feed my sheep, feed my lamb, feed my flocks. He told him 3 times. Did he give a time? The men of the Lord are going to be moved to do the most. Right? Do the most. Like the brother Yarmayan said, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Buckle up. Right? Like Sam said. So I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakak Badash. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well. Almighty Shalom to the hopeful elect scattered 4 corners of the earth in the same spirit and in sound doctrine. Shalom to the Akwaf, the sisters of this faith. Lord willing, you continue to pursue your lot, being a loving and silent and virtuous wife. And Lord willing, the Most High have mercy on the other brothers and sisters that's not in the faith. With that, Shalom, Shalom, Abba, Abba.